They can take a potato, turn it into so many things, make it where it really should be chip, a wedge, a cube. Now they even got crispers. It can hold a dip. My mommy said I mustn't play with food, but it can even hold itself. Eat me. Oh, my God. No, my lips aren't moving. Only the crispers are moving. Can't show you the right angle for this. That this angle looks like a wedge, but it's not a wedge because a wedge is a shoe. But okay, yeah, that is the right angle. See, it's shaped like a V. Because you ask yourself, who's this chip V? It's trapper van vergelijking. Crisper, 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 crisper. Because it's all the same deliciousness, guys. The shooting star. Yes, it's golden delicious. Yes, it's got a little crunch, but also it takes up less space on the plate. Very crisper.
Merry Christmas. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Price of Fame. This is episode 4 on season 2. I'm your host, Lunga Tshuka, and I'll always be your host for The Price of Fame. Tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a very close and a very good friend of mine and colleague in the comedy scene. He's also award-winning comedian at the Savanna Comics Choice Award. He won the Best Newcomer and also the Intermediate Comedian of the Year. And these days, you can catch him all over South Africa doing shows, doing tours, and that kind of thing. And also, he's playing a huge role to the comedy scene of Cape Town, as he always gives back and he contributes by hosting comedy gigs of comedians of all sorts of levels. Ladies and gents, please welcome to the screen a very good friend of mine, very talented and very funny, Yaaseen Barnes. Yeah.
Yay! You give such a great intro. Look here, when I die one day, you must read my eulogy, please.
Well, that same energy.
That same energy. Round of applause for the deceased.
Oh, shame. People can think, for the body shame. Nah, it's bad, bro. Nah. Brother, let me introduce you to something else, bro. Not that gig. Leave with that, bro. Good evening, brother. How are you doing, man?
It's good. I'm still healthy and working, so for me, that's all I need right now. And for that reason, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you so much. I mean, if you put it that way, if that's where you're starting healthy and working, yay, then then I'm also good, man. Otherwise, also mentally, I've been having a bit of my, internal battles, but I'm on a good space right now, So thank you so much for asking, man. Also, a huge thank you for joining us tonight. Like I was trying to say previously, I know that this is a month that you would shift your focus naturally from comedy and so many different things, and because of the month of Ramadan, and it's a very holy month. And I really appreciate that you're actually making time and you scheduled me in, seeing that I feel worthy. Thanks so much, man, for being a guest tonight. I truly appreciate that.
No, look, this like I know the show. It's about inspiring, and it's about bringing the I'll say the value that you have, or the value that you've made for yourself. And I feel like the show is part of the sharing and the giving back. So it fits in with the month of Ramadan. When you asked me, I was like, firstly, I must apologize because the first time I faded on you, but I'm here now. I was like, I can't fade on you again. It's also good.
Yeah. No, honestly, I don't think you faded. It was just kind of like I think it was a last minute thing on my side. And also you tried. I remember you tried because it was back and forth, and then eventually it was, no, I can't make it. So I appreciate that still, you tried. It was a last minute thing and you tried to move things around, and yeah, so it wasn't on you, it was on me. But I appreciate that, man. You're such a genuine guy.
Like a colored man's haircut, someone had to fade. It was, it had to happen some way.
Can I just speak about your background, your setup? First of all, I love that mic. I need to get that mic, so please drop me the details after this conversation. Tell me what mic are you using. And the blue, I like the moon in the background, but it's like you still lit up.
Hold on. Before can I just show you? I don't know if you can see if it's gonna pick up.
Okay. Oh,
Color
oh, okay,
changes, guys.
okay, okay, okay. So every time if I give you a difficult question, you must change the color.
It's my aura. No,
Yeah.
so you're talking about the mic, and it's actually I think it was in 2020 when I realized like, yo, we're shifting to home. Like we're going home. We're not going out. So then
Yeah.
I was like, yo, it's the investment in myself. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy me. I bought me like a streaming kit where it's a mic and it's the camera and like a little. I can't call it now, but it basically you can plug in your gaming system into your computer.
Oh, that's
Because I was
pretty
like, oh,
cool.
I'm gonna go that route. But I also knew like I'm gonna be at home. We're gonna be using the stuff, so I had to make the difficult investment in myself and spend that money to buy me like good quality things or so.
Yeah.
Then I also like tech hooters, man. I like gadgets. I'm a nerd in the heart, so that's why I bought the light.
Yeah.
They're like these cheap lights that you can buy, and they basically you use Wi-Fi to change the colors, and you can go out and put the lights on when you're out, which is
That's pretty.
a quite security factor. Anyway, I'm telling you about my setup now as well. It's part of the show. Anyway, carry on.
No, it's so cool, and I feel like there's so many sides to you that people don't actually know about you, and like which brings me to the one thing. The first time you like Superman, bro, like proper like Superman clocking thing. Like when you take off the glasses, completely someone else. You'll
I'm not
never
gonna
know
do
those
it
guys.
tonight. I'm not gonna do it tonight.
Show us, Yaaseen. I mean, when you take it off, it's someone else. Look at that. Who is
It's
this
someone
guy?
else. It
Look,
really
who is
is
it?
someone else, and I
Look,
become
you
someone
actually
else. I
look a
act
little
like
like
someone else.
88. Yeah, I even look a little bit like 80s. Look at that. Like, nah, bro, this is Muhammad Yaaseen. Yaaseen Bond. Yaaseen. Yaaseen Bond. But it's like with you, it's like the other way around. When you actually put on the glasses, that's when you have your powers. That's when you're funny. Like, hey, that's the guy. When you take it off, like we don't recognize you. Like, I don't know who that guy is. He just works here. He's into like tech and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know who he is.
I'm exactly that, bro. Like when I take, because the other thing is when I take it off, I can't see. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm here.
So your eyes are even smaller, and
Yeah,
that changed
I
so
become
much.
someone
Like,
else.
dude, like without your glasses and without your beard, yeah, bro. Like you can show me a passport, I will not believe you. I will not believe you.
So my ID photo, I made the mistake. I think it was last year. I had to go renew my license. Then
Yes.
my hair was still blonde also. Blonde with a dark part, not the shape, but dark part, and with no specs. It looks like
Yeah.
someone else on my ID photo. And every time they call me, like they pull me over, then I'm just like, yeah, I'm sorry. It was the other time in my life. You must forgive me.
Uh-uh. Brother, I mean, you brought up 2020, and you spoke about some of the some of the adjustments that you had to do because of the way that comedy was going and all of that. Yes, we've done a lot of online comedy as well and that kind of thing. 2020 was a shocker. 2021 was more of a question of who are you now and how do you adapt? So, in a nutshell, can you please just describe to me how was your 2021 and what's your biggest goal for 2022?
Yo, 2021 was like it's more of like a learning year. Because, like you were saying, 2020 we shocked and we all had to like adjust and find ways. But 2021, it was almost like this is you now. Like
Yes.
it's like all the things that you've learned. This is you. This is your skill set. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Like you must know your place in the world. And
Absolutely.
then I think it also, like, I'm grateful for comedy in itself because comedy, like with this show and you, it gives us the opportunity to do other things. Like we learn the skill sets on the streets of comedy, and then we go, yo, I can present. Yo, I can talk. I can read a thing for
Yeah.
someone. I can make a funny video. So I think surviving 2021 was me using like the skills that I've gotten through comedy, if it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
because you do a gig now and again, you get to perform live now and again. You get it. So nothing was ever concrete throughout 2021. For me,
Yeah.
last year was just about surviving. I
Yeah.
didn't want to like build brand. I didn't want to like make special things. I was just like, yo, for 2021, I just want to be alive. That's all that I need to do. I go, bills must
Yeah.
be paid. I want to see my family and friends. And that's all that I need. That's all that I needed for 2021.
Yeah.
2022, though, this is the year I feel like we're pushing. Like this year, I want more things. Like I go, 2021 was stabling. This year is going forward.
Yeah.
So this year, so I've always run competitions. I mean, not competitions. I've always run gigs, like you were saying.
Yes.
I realized this year is the first year I don't run a gig. Every year that I've been doing comedy, I've been running a gig, or like multiple gigs or so,
Yes,
in
of
like
course.
throughout Cape Town. And so then this year I was like, okay, it's fine because I have the Jive Funny Championship coming up.
Okay.
Where now it's like one gig I can run that's gonna give the next people a good basically a good lift.
Yeah.
So this year I was like, okay, I'm not gonna run open mics. There are open mics that's being run, so I don't need to take on that full responsibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year I'm pushing because I want more. I'm going to Grahamstown with my first one man show. I'm There's some other projects I must kind of, when work is happening, you must almost like keep quiet a little.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. No,
the
I understand that. Apparently I don't understand that fully because I always share a little bit too much. So my manager's always telling me like, but I
same,
know what
same,
you're talking
same.
about. And
But
then,
we work in an industry where things move so quickly. Where this day you could have a gig, tomorrow the gig doesn't exist. So you must really wait till the thing is shot, and the day it comes out is the day you go, "Hey guys, I was working on a thing,"
yes.
which is not always fun, but it's still we must learn to contain our energy, especially as extroverts. I'll say the two of us, it's very difficult
Yeah.
to keep that. I want to
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just want to
yeah.
share the nice things. I want to share the things that I enjoy with both people, because I go, if I like it, I hope someone else can like it. And that's
Yes.
why I like making things online. It's why I make doing comedy, because I go, I think this thing is funny. How do you think? And if they like it, then we can share niceness.
No, honestly, like I had the same belief, but then I heard like on a spiritual level too, like people kind of like speak bad about your stuff and can even like put bad energy towards your dreams and stuff that you're trying to achieve. And that also can come as something that could possibly stand in your way or even just push the opportunity or ruin the opportunity too. So it's not just about like, I don't want to tell people about that. You actually get to a point where you have to protect your energy or
Yes,
you protect your projects or
yes.
protect your dreams in that kind of sense. So it's not like, yeah, I don't want to tell anyone what I'm busy with. And it's so weird because especially when in conversations like this, like, hey, what you busy with? You wanted to roll off the tongue. Sometimes you're excited about something. It's to be like, oh yeah, I met this person and we're working on this and we're working on that, and you must see this amazing concept, and you just have to be like, yeah, I got a couple. Yeah, you'll see a lot of.
There's the other concept, or I'll say the philosophy. It's in Islam. It's called tawakkul, right?
Yeah,
Tawakkul, it means it's written. It means
oh,
that God has written it already. So
yes,
things that because sometimes we line up for gigs and then we don't get the gig, and then we
yeah,
feel bad, and then you go, or you see someone else get work and you go, yo, I wish I got that. I could have done that. But
mm,
tawakkul means, yo, it was already written for you. It's destiny. So that's a thing I had to learn in this last couple of years, that comedy taught me, is like, not everything is for you, and what is yours will come for you if you just like keep working. So like sometimes I see my friends get work and I go, I'm very happy for them, especially but it hurts sometimes when you don't have work. Then you just like, I could do some of that, just
yes, yes.
some work.
I
So
mean, I
that
mean,
was like
I guess that's normal though, especially if you know that you can. I mean, if you're another comedian, and for example, the job is we need a comedian to like do this TV show, and bring some kind of flavor. And you see maybe someone who's not like, maybe who's still like a newcomer and they're so nervous in so many areas. And you just think to yourself, I would have taken so much advantage of this, I would have add so much value, that kind of thing. And then I do guess sometimes you will have that thought of like, oh, why didn't they all at me? Why didn't they get me to do that?
they have my number. They know
Yeah,
what.
they seen my work. They know what I can do. They know exactly what I'm capable of. But then it's like you said, I guess that's when you just
You
have to be like, you know what? It wasn't for me. It's written for someone else. It's someone else's blessing. That's something I needed to learn. Also, I'd be like, you know what? It's another man's blessing. I need to get used to that. So yeah,
it's a
because
tough
the
lesson.
gift that I
And
used, yeah,
then also like with like Ramadan now, like has taught me like, yeah, I must slow down, because there's a lot
Mhm.
of times where as freelancers we chase and we chase and we chase, and you never see your own accomplishments because you're chasing the next one the whole time. You don't realize
Absolutely.
what you've done is so great because you raise your standards every time you do something good. Then you just like,
Yeah.
oh, I got this thing cool, I got this thing cool, I got this thing cool, but you're not going, yo, this is a dope thing that I managed to do, because you're just
Yeah.
chasing the next. So now with Ramadan, it's totally like slow down. Like
Yeah.
you can't, because you don't have the, like I'll say, the energy and the energy to be awake the whole, not the way to like spend your energy focusing on things the whole day. You're just like, okay, I can only give it this, and I'll be too tired to go on for the next. So it's those kinds of things that I'm very grateful for, like the fast to like slow down, Yasin. Your things will come.
Yeah. No, I mean, really, I mean, I feel like that was my lesson for 2020, actually, because I was also like on a heavy, I was just getting frustrated with where I am. When you get to that point, you're like, I'm not where I want to be. And I feel like I could do more. I feel like I could do more. Like this week, I don't have anything booked. What could I do in this week to fill it so I can feel like I'm doing something? And I felt like I was really taking on that energy a lot in the beginning of 2020 towards, I mean, especially because 2019 was a good year for me. I did my one-man show, and it ended off so lovely. And I just wanted to keep that high. I wanted to stay on top of my hype in the wheel. And then when 2020 came, I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing enough." And then boom, everyone sit back.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of taught me of like, yo, relax, calm down, focus on the stuff that you've been meaning to get to, and
Yes.
all the things. And maybe just take also a transformation. I mean, grow some dreads if you need.
No, it's a mooi cut though. Got that Wakanda swag also on it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So like, it was really like a moment like that for me. So I fully relate and understand. And I guess a lot of people, most of us, there are people who took it differently, who came on the other side of this challenge. But like, you know what I'm saying? For most people, I mean, we can relate to the whole thing of it was a transformation time, and who am I now moving forward? Speaking
Yeah.
of who am I now, I mean, like, quick question. So you've done a lot of things. You've done ads. Have you done movies yet? Have you appeared in movies yet?
No,
Like as
not yet. It's
okay,
actually it's on the things that I've planned in 2021, is that that we wrote a movie also, and now we're busy polishing it up. But it's that thing of it's it's one of the things that comedy can give us is yeah, to do movies or whatever we want.
that's exactly what I'm getting at, because now, I mean, you've done so many different things, because since you were a comedian, you've branched out to so many different things, put yourself out there in so many different ways, and you're also doing content creation now. My question is, would you have done all of these things if comedy didn't open the door for you? Would you have still like
No,
done like
not a
would you go to
damn.
the and be like, I want to do in ads, I want to do all of these stuff if comedy didn't open the doors for you?
I my world before comedy was so small in terms of like I thought it was. I still had the process of you must do this, then do this, then do this. So it means you get a job, a office job, and then you work yourself up to like a manager thing, and then you
Yeah,
basically that's your life. You get married, you have the children, and that was like the process that of the world we knew. But with comedy, it allowed me to like to be more of myself, and like even more of myself than I never knew I was. If
wow.
it makes sense, like I like the way I am now, I felt it when in my, I'll say, my in my days working in an office and stuff like that. Like I felt it then, but I just didn't know it was possible. So
Yes.
it changed the trajectory, and it changed the comedy allowed me to see the other way the world could have been lived.
Wow, that's beautiful, bro. That's
And
beautiful.
yeah, like I don't know if it makes sense. It's that thing of like, because you grow up and you go, I must study, I must get a job, and this must be the thing. I must work for someone. You don't even think of having your own job, your own business. You just go, oh, I
Yeah,
must work for someone, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how I'll. And you just go, that's the cap. Then with comedy and the freedom that came, I literally can do whatever I want now. In terms of like, if I have an idea, I can go to someone and go, yo, I have this idea. Let's make a movie. I have this
Yeah,
idea. You,
yeah.
it's the same thing here. You have your own talk show. Like it's as wild as that. Like, did you ever have it? Like, you'd have your own talk show at the age of, let's say, 18. Did you think you'd
Yeah.
be here?
No, not at all. Not at all, bro. Not at all. I mean, like a lot of these things, even comedy, like I didn't see it coming, you know. Comedy was more of like a peer pressure kind of thing. And like the same with you, you know, once comedy opened the doors for me, I found that I can actually do so much stuff because comedy allowed that freedom and growth. So like if I can grow and be free in here, what else could I do, you know? And it really helped me with things that I used to do before, for example, dancing and emceeing. Now that I'm a comedian, my dancing is improved or my emceeing has improved because I've got the funnier aspect to it now, or just more of me now. I've learned because comedy allows you to tap into who you are and like open all doors, even if it's trauma. Something has like comedy takes you to all parts of you, your happiest times, your most darkest times, all of those things, you know. It really lets you like experience all of that, and that's where you can gather your material from. And that's
Yeah,
super
no,
awesome.
I feel like 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 every year my comedy and me becomes more myself. Like I feel like when I stand on stage I represent more of myself, like even though it is a performance, it's more of me. So then
Yeah,
like all the trauma and all those things, I go, yo, I'm fine with speaking about these things. I'm more comfortable as a person. And while
yeah.
it might like shock some of in the crowd, I go, it also they can relate to it. So I get to be I'm so grateful for comedy because I get to be me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And people get to appreciate you for you. They get to book
Yeah.
you because they want to see you and learn about
Yes.
you know. So that,
And that's
listen,
also
that,
that's also a
sorry.
lesson. Sorry, that's a lesson also that you learn with when it comes to getting work, freelancer work, is that you get booked for you. You might see someone else do something and you go, "Yo, maybe I must be more like this to get the job, or I
Yeah,
must be
yeah,
more like
yeah.
this." But
Mm,
you get the job because it's you. And so
yes,
that's the thing I'm learning more and more is like, yo, just like don't hold yourself back. If you want to say your thing, say your thing. Be you like yourself. It's very difficult. It sounds also like very back of the sugar packet yeah, motivational, but it's
yes, yes,
legit.
yes.
Your life becomes better when you get to be more of yourself.
Very true. Absolutely. I mean, that's what makes the job better, even because if we were dancing and there's one dance instructor there, he's teaching us the same moves, but the way I move is a lot more looser, or whatever. So I'm bringing my essence to it, and that's why people go, "Oh, that's why you're such a good dancer," you know. And we're all learning the same moves, hitting at the same time, and everything like that. But the way you do it makes it special. But like I wanted to say, I wanted to ask you with your comedy. Like I said, mine was more of a peer pressure thing. Can you describe how it all started for you? Like what inspired you to be a comedian?
I never wanted to be a comedian. Growing up, it was never a thing. I hated speaking in front of people. I did like this thing that I'm doing with you now.
Yes.
Let's say 10 years ago, I would never have done it. I would have been like shy to speak in front of people. Like
Yeah.
even through high school, I was never like even the jokes I made with friends, it was very like over here. I'd make my jokes.
Yeah.
Like I was never the class clown, never like in front of people. And then who was it? Gino Fernandez. He there was a few people that like asked because I started on Twitter. My Twitter like popped in the first year. Like I had like quite a big I'll say growth. And
Yes.
then people were like, "Oh, are you a comedian?" I was like, "No, that's for stupid people. Why would I ever want to do comedy?" And then Gino Fernandez actually, so he's a friend of my sister, and he used to run the gigs. And then he was like, "Yo, just come try this thing."
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't even go watch comedy. Like I haven't like I wasn't. I used to go to like Mark Locking, like because it's at the Baxter. It was that of that stuff.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
what else? Yo, then I went to go try it on stage, and like my friends went with me, and it was fun. And then Irshad Mohammed, I think it was after my second gig, Irshad Mohammed was doing comedy at the time. He was like, "Yo, I follow you on Twitter. Just read your tweets. Don't." It's like you don't need to tell jokes. Don't tell stories. Just read your tweets. Your tweets are hilarious. Then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. Then on my third time on stage, I entered the competition for the Jokers Championship. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember. It was yeah,
Yes. Melody used to run that. You know?
yeah. And then so the prize for that was to perform at the Yomasa Comedy Club. And I entered, but like again, I did comedy like 4 times before that, and each time was like a month between. I didn't know that you must go every week to go do the thing or every night. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing the thing, and then I never even like before into the competition, I never saw it as a career. It was just a fun thing that I did, like for
Yeah.
shits and giggles. Then when I entered the competition, because Melody reached out to me, she was like, "Yo, do you on the scene? Just come do the thing." Then when I entered the competition, I was like, okay, let me see what one-liner comedians are. Let me see what's the comedy I actually like. And that was the first night I did like one-liner. I'll say one-liners, and I did. I was meant to do 5 minutes. I did it 2.5 minutes of jokes, and then I walked off the stage. I was like, "Okay, thanks, bye." Walked out, like under time, horribly under
Yeah.
time. And then I was like, "Okay, I can't win because I didn't do enough time." And I walked off, and then I was like out of the building, and then they're like, "Yo, Yaaseen, they're calling your name. You won." Then I was like, "What?" Yeah. So, um, and I think it was like winning that was a big deal because it's a thing I got to. It's almost like I got taken serious for things I made in my mind. So like
Okay.
growing up, like the things I made and the things I enjoyed, it almost like I didn't let. How can I explain now? I didn't let myself take it serious, like the things
Yes.
that I made and the things I enjoyed. So when I put
Yes.
it out to the world, this is the first time I actually took my own stuff and I put it out to the world, and it got the recognition that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And then like because all the time, like as a kid, I used to make funny hats. I used to like draw on caps and make like funny words and stuff, like like sayings and stuff. And then I would just not show anybody. I'd make the stuff, I'd sit in my drawer. I would make like funny signs, just sit in my drawer. I did art at school, used to graffiti, just put it in my drawer, never showed the world my stuff. And then comedy was like, yo, put it out there. Like the
Yeah.
world actually likes your stuff, your head, that stuff you stuck within your head, put it out there. And
Yeah.
and then from there, it took off because it felt like I could be more of myself then, and then
Yeah.
every year it just grew with that. So um, I think that was my first moment of me going, "Oh shit, the stuff in your head is dope," and then like go with it. So yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm repeating myself the whole time. But anyway, carry on.
No, it's super cool, man. I mean, like, let's actually talk about. Let me talk about the first time I met you, because I mean, so many rumors. Oh, let's just get into that night quickly, right?
Okay, first I'm gonna tell my story from my side. You can tell your story now. So it's my second
Okay,
time on stage. My second time on stage. I do not know anything about comedy. I'm just
hilarious.
please not on stage, Yasin boss. Now I'm standing there. Also, I saw you before the gig and I'm like, oh my god, it's Lunga. Yo, Lunga's a big deal. Damn, it's Lunga. Because I've heard you on the streets. Anyway, I'm
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
stage and I'm telling jokes, but again, I'm so like high on being on stage. While I am on stage, I don't know what's clapping, right? So I hear someone say something to me and I'm like, what must happen now? What? And then I'm carrying on with the joke and there's people still making noise, and then I just hear Lunga in the back go, come, we're going outside now. I just remember that. And then I didn't even stop to carry on what was happening, but you went outside, and then I just heard you move someone because they didn't keep quiet.
The life, that story. I at least heard so many different versions of that story, and I was there, and there's other people telling me. So, okay, this is what happened. So I rock up at the gig, right? And it's an open mic platform, you know. So a lot of comedians can come there and try to imitate them. And Yasin's on the bill, I was on the bill, and a few other comedians were on the bill as well. I rocked up slightly earlier. Well, the show was already on by the time I got there. And 99% of the crowd, of the audience, is watching the show and having a good time. One guy, there's this one guy sitting in the audience speaking to his friend. His friend is not even paying attention to him because his friend is kind of like embarrassed. So his friend is like looking over to him to watch the comedy. But he's like the loudest guy, and he's also probably drunk and that kind of thing, you know. I get in there and I see how everyone is struggling, and we all like open micers, man. So no one knows how to handle it. So you know, so everyone's getting proper thrown off. They'll be like, yeah, and then like that guy there at the back, and then it spoils the flow. And for us watching you, it's also junk because a lot of audience they're trying to ignore him and they're trying to still pay attention. But now if the comedian gets thrown off, just throw everyone off, you know. And now that's happening, and the guy's going on and it's going on, And I decide to myself, when I go on, I'm just gonna be loud and I'm gonna do some of my material that has beatboxing and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna demand the attention. I go on, I do that. I still hear him in between my set, but I go on and I'm loud and I'm doing my thing. I'm done. And I'm sitting now, you gone. And like, this is the first time I'm seeing you. It's the first time I heard of Yaaseen Barnes or whatever. And your act is you stand still in one place, you have the awkward look. But I never knew this before. So I'm thinking for the first time, I thought you're really awkward and you really can't, and you really feel uncomfortable. And you're like, you're just struggling to get your work out. And this guy, and I was like, no. And you were the last comic. And I was like, bro, you're not going to destroy the last comedians. So I get up and I go to him and I'm like, nicely first, I'm like, listen, we're trying to work here tonight, we're trying to do our thing or whatever. Could you please keep it down? So I at that point, I realized I'm not the first person that spoke to him because he didn't even acknowledge me. He's like, yeah, carry on, brother, carry on. So you're like, okay, I felt like I was kind of rude, because even the way because I approached you in a decent way. Anyways, I'm chilling. And then you go on and then you speaking and stuff, and I'm starting to feel nervous for you. And other big comedians, we can feel it, it's like not nice when you see another comedian not doing so well. And I'm seeing that you're really trying to do your thing, but not knowing that's also part of your character. But then you get to a point and when you're like, yeah, that bra at the back, and then that's where I was like, yo, when you actually were thrown off. So I'm like, you actually did it for all the comics, the host and all the comics. So when I went there, I'm like, yo, like we're trying to work here and all of that thing, that. And I think I even swore, and people's like, oh. But while I'm scaling, someone else gets up. Someone in the audience who was obviously annoyed by this guy, he gets up, he takes the guy like that by the clothes, and he takes him outside.
Oh, I thought it was you that grabbed the bra.
And I see this happening in front of me, and now I'm just like, and now I'm confused. I'm like, huh? And the two of them is outside, and they're arguing now. And I was like, wait, man, I'm supposed to be outside because I started this whole thing, so let me at least control the situation. I'm not gonna fight him, But I go outside, and people's like, yeah, put away your butter knife, put away your. I'm like, who's got a butter knife? The guy was so sad. He's like, yeah, but I loved for you. I enjoyed you. And I felt in the moment, I was like, oh, you actually enjoyed me. But like, yeah, but you had a tough time. He's like, but I loved for you. And I was like, bro. And I told Justin, let's leave. Let's leave. A week later, bro, everyone's like, yeah, Lunga, I heard you kick the guy there. Yo, Lunga, I heard you were fighting in the comedy show. Yeah, Lunga, I heard you knock someone out. I was like, what's going on? That is the actual.
You actually cleared up my memory up now. Do you know that? You gave me a new memory. Like I had the other picture now for you because in my mind I was like, Lunga grabbed the bra, took the bra aside and moved him. Then I was like, oh, because I know Lunga does karate good. Lunga will mess a bra up.
I never laid a hand on him. The only time I touched him is when I tapped him in the beginning to be like, can you please turn it down? Other than that, I went outside to calm it down because I was like, I don't know who took him outside and I don't know how big it's going to escalate, man. But I knew it's because what I said. So I knew like, okay, I need to be somewhere here to calm the situation down. But then it got calm when I went outside. And then I was just like, let's go. I just wanted to go home.
Record, Lunga did not move that man. That is not on the record for everybody of the two people that are involved in the story. It was me on stage and Lunga in the crowd. Lunga did not move the man.
I did not move that man that night. Even though I wanted to, but I did not move that man.
No, this is the other funny. Firstly, we must state that gig was a shuttle. Like it was a shoebox of a room with no ventilation and no bathroom, and the toilet was 2 buildings down, and you had to stand at a very awkward angle to go pee. Then the second thing you must also know is that not all the gigs are great. Yeah, not all the gigs are amazing. Some gigs we just there because we want the stage time. You literally in your first years of doing stand-up, you spend so much money on petrol. Like you spend you don't. I think I only made money in my third year, or the end of my second year. I made money from comedy of like, here's a paycheck for you. That's yours.
Yeah. That's why I actually find it so difficult to just hang out at gigs that I'm not being paid for, I'm not playing at all, or not being paid for. Like, so it's like it's too much investing just to like show your face, that kind of thing. So it's but I guess again, it's how the game works, so you have to like invest here, bite the bullet here, invest here, bite the bullet here.
Yeah. It's the other thing is going to gigs or spending your money to get to gigs is also while it is, it's also like investing in yourself. And it's
Yes.
a weird notion also, because you must choose what investment is the good investment, what where you actually you might get stage time, where the people who's on the bill are going to see you, those kinds of things. And because I told someone the other day, like, they don't pay you until you put bums on seats, until you
Yeah.
are of that level sometimes.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
they thought from the first gig you do, you get money. I was like, no, you spend more money than you make money in your first couple of years. So it's a very that's, I think that's also where the privilege comes from. Like, on your background, if you have access to like a car, or you have access to someone that can drop you and stuff, that's all part of the things we don't always speak about that can help your comedy. Just
Yeah.
being the access that you can have to those spaces. And I think I was, like, I acknowledge, and I was blessed with that privilege of always having a car that was in my house, that I could just, like, oh, I'm gonna go. And then I also lived in a space that was closer to gigs than other people had access to. Those all, I think, like, played a part in my thing. And that's another reason why I make gigs, because I go, other people don't have that option, so let me
Yeah.
try and find a way that
Yeah.
it can help everybody else as well.
Cool, man. Listen, any challenges in your community or in the household with you being a comedian? I'm sure you're the only comedian in your family, and um, I'm sure there's a lot of like conversations that you had to have just to have your own freedom and all of that kind of thing. Can you describe some of those challenges that you had in the community as well and the household?
So, it's the weird thing of going, because it's not a career, like,
Yeah,
or career that my, like, I'll say, my people know. There's always the question of, like, are you making money? Can you support yourself? Can you pay the bills? Those are like, because I was spending so much on like petrol and moving around, that I'll say my family never understood, like, because you go, the only other person ahead of me in my community in terms of comedy is like Riyad Musa, and
hmm,
he's like super famous. So then they didn't understand that what's possible for him is kind of possible for me.
yeah,
And those things are, and it's very much like, and I get it now, because you, like, parents are parents, and they don't they want the best for you. So my father, he was in insurance. So when I started comedy, I was in insurance as well. Obviously, couple me a place in the job. Then there was a point where I had to, like, tell him, like, yo, I want to do this full time. And
yeah.
then that was like a thing, like, in the house, of like, yo, can you make it? Can you support yourself? What's the thing? Like, and then, and it's the same thing, and it comes up like once a year, where there's a moment of going, can comedy pay the bills? Like, is this thing a thing I should be doing? Should I go get that other job? And it happens at my high moments and at my low moments. At my high moments, I go, someone's gonna stop me from having too much fun. And at my low moments, when I'm not working and it doesn't really pay the bills, I'll say, then I go, should I still be doing comedy? Should I focus on other things? Should I find a other job in those things? So, like, it's always been, like, the financial thing has been a big factor, but, like, I'll say, culturally and with my community, it's a thing of, is what I'm doing good for the community? Is
Yeah,
it is it like, am I going on stage and being blasphemous? Am I being going on stage and bad mouthing, like, the people in my community? Is it like, is it inspiring other people, or is it just making us look bad as people? So those were
yeah,
always like the models of my comedy was always a thing that I'll say I had to deal with. Um but yeah, like, yeah, those are just like some of the things that, and you learn it on the way. It's the sad and blessed part of comedy is that no
yeah.
one teaches you, that you only learn these lessons by going through them, by failing at them, and by just pushing through them. And sometimes you get it right, and sometimes most times you get it wrong.
No, that's so true. I mean, the thing is, there's so many comedians who's going to give you their opinion. Oh, you should have done this, or you should do this, or you should. But like, I think comedy is one of those things where you just have to write your own story, become your own person. Yes, a lot of people might see some things that you don't see, but they can't guide you fully. They maybe just have that one guidance of it, one joke. But
Yeah.
more than that, but more than that, you probably outwork them in different ways. So you feel like, I can't really look to you in
Yeah.
everything. So you have to like just take piece by piece and see what resonates with you. and kind of create your own self more. And I think the best version of your comedy will always be the true version of yourself.
Yeah.
And like another thing, like we had a conversation not too long, well, quite some time ago, where
What
you
is
spoke like
time? What is time? What is time? You're saying not too long ago, a few a while ago, 2 weeks. Time is
it's
nothing.
been a minute. Listen, so we had this conversation, and I remember you told me that there was this huge opportunity that came towards you, you know, but because of your values and what you value, you could not accept the opportunity. Unfortunately, I think it was an alcohol brand that wanted to take you on and be, and you were like, you know, I can't do it because of my beliefs and that kind of thing. Can you share us? Can you describe like how does that affect you? Is it something that you're proud of, or is it just like, oh, how did you handle that situation? Do you
So
feel
that's
limited because of your values that you can't do certain things as a comedian?
yes and no. So it's yes, you feel limited because you feel like there's big opportunities that you are not gonna get, right?
Yes,
Like especially with with the alcohol brand approached me, it was like, yo, it's a big bag, and then I must
yes,
go, yo, it's not my thing. And again, that thing of tawakkul, you go, God has written for me because I'm spiritual in the sense of like I go, what I have, like what I've built and what I've been given is because of God. So
yeah,
so the thing I go, I should be able to say no to some things if it's not right for me. I also go
absolutely,
the like the alcohol brand I go, it's the thing of I have a myself, it's my religion, it's my family, it's also my community. I go, these are the same people that help build my career. Like part
yeah,
of who I am is because of the people that has spent a ticket for me, the people that have shared my stuff, people that support me in those spaces. I can't do them wrong by going, yo, here's the thing. The other thing you like I've learned with comedy is that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. That I go, I can take if I'm sprinting, I can take the big bag, gang, that's good. But then next month or 2 months time, there's no money because it was just a hype, and then
yeah,
I've
yeah,
wasted all that. So so now it's like it's marathon the thing. Let's build, let's build for myself that lasts years. Let's build for others that's also for years. So it's all part of the story of looking after what we have for a longer time and not just I would like I don't want to just be the next big thing. I want to be
yeah.
the next big thing for a long, if it makes sense.
Now, quick question on top of that, because I was just thinking about this now. So let's say I'm the alcohol brand and I'm like, I approach you and I tell you, Yasin, this is what you're going to be making. I want you to be the face, blah, blah, blah. And then you tell me that exact thing, like, I can't do it because of X, Y, Z and that kind of thing. But I'm like, okay, well, I really love you and I really love your jokes, though. What if you were not the face? What if you were just a silent guy in the room and writing jokes for the campaign or for the alcohol brand, the jokes that we do? Is that something? Is that something where you can be like, yeah, maybe I can do that, yeah? Or is it still like, no, because it's alcohol, it's completely no?
So for me, I go, it's alcohol. I can't. The money that is from it is not is the money is not halal money.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that, but it sounded
No,
like a
no, no.
joke.
It is. It is. It's a funny term, but essentially the money is not allowed. So I go, it's
Yeah.
safe, guys. Because they asked me also. Then I was like, nah, it's not my space. I'd find other ways
Uh,
of doing it. And then,
okay.
and this was a contentious thing with the awards because it was the Savanna Comics Choice Award. But
Yes.
then, yeah. so then, so then
Allow award there.
I might
Those
not go
award
find who's
allow.
that. I had to go find who's the allowed. So then, I went to go ask like learned people. Then they were like, "Yo, you're not getting money from the award. You're just getting the award, and the award is from the Comics Choice. Savannah happens to be the sponsor, but it's like, but that means it's
Absolutely.
just the award and the acknowledgement of your peers." So I was like,
Yes.
"Okay, cool, makes sense." So then,
Yeah.
with regard to dealing, there was many things with the awards that I set out because, like with the advertising and stuff like that, I was like, guys, I can't take all of it. It's just like I'm just want the award, and because they give you a lot of other things, and I had to turn it down.
Okay.
And yeah, it's also for me, it all just feels like it's part of the story. Like there's never bad things that I don't have bad things happen to me because it just feels like I'm learning from them. So when things
Absolutely.
don't go my way, when things fall apart, when things are really looking down, I just go. It's part of the story. It's part of the story that when I write the book one day, when I make the movie, I go, yeah, that's stuff that will happen. But
Yeah,
I genuinely believe I work and I make work. So when bad things happen, I will always be able to work and make work.
yeah, true. I mean, it's a good thing to say like it's part of the story, it's part of the journey, and not take it personal, and not attach yourself personally to the situations. But was there ever a time when you felt like, what, I just want to give up, I just want to, hang my boots. This is not
Oh,
something good for me, Was there a moment
The-
that you got?
there's many times, and it happens a few times a year, that if I take note, it's something also I've learned is that like we as humans and as animals, we have seasons. We have like there's reasons like some animals hibernate, and there's seasons that you must go rest, you must go down, you must go put go put your things down, yeah, stop. So sometimes, like in your down period, when you try to work and you try to push yourself, and it's not clapping, it's not giving that spark, and then you almost like you can slip into like a depression and a dark place if you don't take your rest time. Like
Yes,
there's a winter that must happen, and it will become a summer, but only if you rest while in winter that your summer can be productive. So those are
absolutely.
all things that I've learned of, like, don't force it, just go down. So there's been in my earlier years, there's been times where I genuinely was upset with the world because my comedy wasn't right, my timing was right, I wasn't getting work that I feel like I should have been getting, I wasn't pushing myself more. And then I also just learned later of, don't push yourself all the time, push yourself when you must, but take your break. It's Have your Kit Kat, it's safe.
No, it's absolutely no. That's so true. And like we grew up like I know in my area, growing up there's with challenges like gangsterism, drug abuse, lots of low self-esteem kind of thing going on with friends and just in the community. Have you been affected of any of those challenges growing up?
um it's I actually say, like, no, like so I grew up. It sounds so weird. I grew up like in the scurvy part of the colored community. we
You
and
stay inside that.
yeah, like I'm not saying that I'm better than I just grew up in a world where gangsterism wasn't necessary. It's part of my community in the broader sense, but in my smaller community, it's not necessarily a thing. And like
Okay.
peer pressure was also a thing of, we obviously we all have friends that drugs is a thing. Drugs has always been a thing of, like, drugs and alcohol is always. I feel like it's not even a community thing. It's almost it is, while it is a community thing, it's a time period and phase thing in which kids go through, of like in
Yeah.
your 20s, where you've all, no matter how good a person you are, there's always someone doing drugs and someone doing drugs more than they should. So I'm not saying don't do drugs, I'm just saying don't do all of the drugs.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah.
so
Don't do
like I
all
had
of
friends that went on the other end, and
it.
it's the sad truth of, like, sometimes you can help them, and then there's other times where you can only, there's some people you can only help to an extent. We must also help ourselves. So while there were friends who went on, I'll say, on the other end, so drugs was actually a thing more than like gangsterism and the peer pressure. But yeah, like I've seen people go through, yeah, like hectic things, and I've there's many friends that I've helped, and they've helped me as well. And then because also when you help people, you also learn from them, from helping them, you learn yourself.
Yes, yes, yes.
um so like those things of, like, yeah, so the drugs thing was like a, yeah, in my 20s. Yeah, like, sorry, you asking me this question and I'm having flashbacks of, like, yo, there was wild times, like, really, really, yeah. So
No, I mean that's the
it,
point of it.
yeah, so it's all coming back to me now, Celine Dion. But yeah, it really, really, it really, I think the drugs was a big component in my 20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm hitting a must, not a must, but I'm genuinely like, shit,
I can
God,
see,
don't.
yeah, you're literally seeing it and you're like, it's coming back to you like, oh shit, yeah, yeah. I mean, like, and it's It's such a sad thing, because like it's something that most of us face or challenge with, especially like in moving from teenage to young adult, because now you're leaving the school, you're leaving your house, you're leaving your parents' rules and that kind of thing, and you're trying to carve out who you are. And sometimes your environment, if it's not a good environment or you don't have the good friends, you might look for in them or in your environment, who am I in this environment, Oh, do I live in a gangster paradise? I must probably be somewhat kind of strong so that I need to survive in my own area. So I need to develop some kind of attitude or that kind of thing,
Yeah.
Or I need to do some drugs, That's why so I can get along in certain ways. So we try and figure out who we are, and some of these things that we do kind of holds on to us for the rest of our lives, and it's not just a phase. So just be like, oh, like, oh, like for example, clubbing. You'd be like, yeah, who am I in this clubbing thing? Do I party? Do I? And yeah, we're over it now. We're like, cool. Some people are still at the club.
Yes.
Some people are still
Guys,
at the club.
guys must come home. Come home.
Some people are still, you shouldn't be there anymore. But it's clubbing is one of those things that you can actually be like, I've outgrown this. Drugs, it's not necessarily something easy where people be like, I've outgrown that. Those are one of those things that actually claw and take
Yeah.
and really hang on to like your life. So it's not easy, it's really not easy. And with all the information out there and all of that stuff, you can still get caught up, by peer pressure or just by being with people that you trust.
Yeah. I also I never had a thing like you get car guys and you get guys that were into like graffiti and the guys
Yeah,
that were into
yeah,
clubbing. So I never had like one thing. I was very much like a floater in terms of I had friends that were linked to all these things. So
yeah,
even like when the one group would like go into like do things, I would just be on the sideline watching with him. Then
yeah,
I used to go to the club, but like only with some friends, and then I had friends I would do this and friends I would do that with. So even so, like I never delved into one click at,
yeah.
at once. And I think that's also the nice thing that like I've learned all those things to bring into my comedy. So now I can speak about all those things because I've lived it, but I haven't been in it, if it makes sense.
Uh-huh. Speaking about the comedy back there, I mean, we just spoke about a heckler in the beginning of the conversation. We're actually getting close to the end of the interview, but I'm enjoying having my time with you now. But we spoke about a heckler, How do you, I've seen some comics handle hecklers in a way where I was like, oh, you didn't have to like shoot him that bad, Like I feel like you could have handled it a bit better, even though they're the wrong to heckle, but
Yeah.
you know, and that kind of thing. And you seem like a pretty nice guy, especially on stage too, Even when you're heckling, it sounds nice. How do you deal with hecklers? Or what was your worst heckler ever?
Yo, so the worst heckler was I think she was like a 7-year-old child who did a bad gig. Anyway, I was performing. It was a bad gig. Let me just say it was a bad gig. The child
Yeah,
came
yeah,
up
yeah.
to me and was like, "Can you keep quiet? I want to talk to my mommy, please."
A little
Because you
kid.
can't say anything to the child. Because
Yeah,
you can't
yeah,
make jokes. Children at that age don't understand jokes. You must just be like, "I'm sorry for disturbing your supper. Bye."
yeah.
I literally said bye, got off the stage, got into my car, walked out of the door, into my car, and drove home. I was like, safe. I'm out of this. I can't.
That's hilarious.
It was a because it was such a nice heckle. Then when people now when people talk to me or like try to heckle, I feel like I'm safe in my own self, so I can talk to them and I can talk shit to them. And I also know you don't pick the person, you perform for the room still. So you
Yes.
don't you don't necessarily make fun of the person, but you basically make the whole room see that person, and then you go, you want attention, here's your attention, there,
Yeah.
and then it's fun times from that. So I like to because then it's a place of most hecklers just want to be a part of the show. They think they're helping the show. So I go,
Yeah.
let's talk to you. You want attention? Let's tell.
Dude, like it's so true that you say that. I think I even saw a heckler. It's like, nah, I've been making it funny for you. I was like, no, you're not making it funny for me. They think there's some like that's the thing. A lot of them get excited about the experience and they feel like they want to be part of it because they think that all comedians like to pick on people in the audience. So they're putting themselves out there, like pick on me, let's have a banter kind of thing. And then
Oh,
like it's not, it doesn't go for everyone, you know. I actually prepared material for tonight. You know, I
Yeah.
actually have a, even though I'm making it look flawless, like I'm just having a conversation with you guys, but in my mind, I have hits, I have a time, I have punchlines, I have you guys where I know, okay, interact here, but now or whatever, switch it up. All of that is going on. Then someone wants to come and banter with you, you know, and be like, bruh, I,
I'm not your, especially on nights when you want to do your act. When you go, I've prepared my act. Like I'm here to do the jokes. Like I have a new idea or new concept. I'm here for that. And then you get someone that was interrupts you. Yo, then you're gonna catch me on a bad night. And then there's also been times where I've lost my shit on stage as like we have just been like, yo, I'm not having any of this. And I just go to Kira and I go, yeah, sometimes we roll the dice. Comedy is a is a gamble. And then I go, yeah, I'm gonna freak out like this, and they're gonna have it. It's fine. But
yeah.
I try and keep it as light as possible. But sometimes I still lose it.
And then you go into that, give yourselves a round of applause. I mean, if they're not giving it to you, you know, you gotta give yourselves.
Yo, there's been many times where I go, I don't have to leave the stage. Okay, come on, just clap for yourselves, guys. Bye.
Actually, it is, honestly. And look, you said you, I mean, you probably like mentioned earlier, you know, just so by the way, that you didn't have kind of like any mentors in your journey. Do you have anyone that you identify as like, yeah, that moment, you know, it was like a mentor moment, or are you, have you been a mentor to anyone?
The thing with mentors is I actually find all the comedians and my friends that's comedians are mentors for me. Because when I hear these stories and if I see people work, in my heart I go, if they work, I should be working. And I use them almost like when I hear the story of what they're doing to work, I go, yo, that's inspiring for me. Because we all literally just when people ask me, oh, who's your favorite comedian? I go, all my friends. My friends are my favorite. They make me laugh. They inspire me to push. The gags are always getting better. I should be getting better. So
Yeah,
there's many moments uh, that I have, but there's one specific one was I did Rocking the Daisies and I wasn't booked for the lineup, but I just went with I think I was Dalen's plus one. Anyway, jumped in the car like in the early hours of the morning, went through with him, and I was just sitting there like, yo, Yasin, do you want five? So I'm like, okay, I feel like I can do five. And Mumsy at the time, Mumsy Makuna, he's on stage and he's murdering. Like he is destroying and he's all over the stage and like the crowd is losing their mind. And I'm standing on the side and I'm genuinely going like, I can't do that. That's not my kind of comedy. Well, like how am I supposed to like top this thing that he's doing? Like he's making the crowd live and Sivin Casey was actually standing on the side and he saw me panic and he grabbed me and he's like, yo, Yasin, bring them to you. They they already, the jokes are in your head. Bring them to your world. Don't go out to them. Don't perform like anybody else but yourself. And that was the moment I was like, oh shit, I can only do me. I can't impersonate someone else. I can't have a style like anybody else. It's me
yeah,
and my world and my comedy that I must bring them to. I mustn't go out. And yeah, I
yeah.
went up. And also, it's the first time I performed for like a other crowd. Because normally we're
Oh,
just playing the scene. It's a small crowd. These are
yeah,
strangers. These people don't know who I am. Got there and yo, I'm murdered. And I'm not even gonna hold back. Like yo, it was a
yeah,
proper
yeah, yeah,
like proper destroy. And I was like, yo, calm, collected, and all the beats. And I was like, yeah, stacking the thing. And it was wild because like I have people that still remember me from that set. And
yes,
I'm actually yeah, that. And then a similar moment I performed in Coogs where again I didn't know the people, I didn't know the world, and I thought there would be like a disconnect because it's the first time I'm performing in Coogs or so. And
yeah.
got there, and then the first two comedians before me were heckled or were booed. Probably like they went up, did two gags, not even a minute in. Boo, get off, done, leave, bye. Now I'm standing there. Milo was with me. Milo Hot Chocolate. He went up before me. They booed him off. Then I had to go up after that. And then like I had proper fun. And I was like, oh shit. Those were moments in my career where I go, I can do this across the country. Like
Yes,
my world in my head can travel to the rest of the world across the world. So those were moments I always have and cherish for myself.
That's pretty dope, man. That's really pretty dope.
It was the
Listen,
first time I got to see it, but I perform for, I'll say, for a black community. To see people
yeah,
stand up, walk around and laugh, and then come back and sit down. I was like, yo, this is love, because they hit the walls, they shout, they hit each
yeah.
other, laugh. I was like, this feels like love. I want this thing. And I was like, okay, I can
Dude,
travel.
to be honest with you, I think when I started out performing and I was just like, trying to read crowds and in the beginning, you're just like taking note, okay, what kind of crowd is this? And I don't mean to make it about race or anything, but I feel like colored people and black people are the best audiences that you would get in terms of how much they receive the comedy and how much they laugh. And like you say, they bang the tables and get up and whatever. And after the show, they come to you and they want to take pictures with you and that kind of thing. They make you feel like a proper celebrity.
They're very pro-COVID in the way that they react. Like they touch, they laugh, they spit when they laugh.
Yeah,
It's everything is going both. So it's like, yeah, I like this.
dude. And then you perform for like maybe just a white crowd, completely white crowd. And then they'll giggle like for your jokes.
Yeah,
You just get the giggles out of them. No whistling
loud
or
smilers.
like talking back. Then after the show, they were like, "Oh, you were so lovely. You're so." And I was like, "Wow, look, when you're giving me the laugh." This whole time, I thought I'm doing terrible. I'm doing extra on stage here, and like you think like you're not doing well because they're just giggling like. Afterwards, everyone was like, "You were so amazing. Hey, can I book you? Wow, you want to book me? You want?"
Yeah. Like I don't want to get booked if it's gonna feel like this again. But anyway, so
Yeah.
happy.
I mean, you book me for a lot of people that just sit like this, like that. I don't think so. Hilarious. Yaaseen, brother. I mean, I've taken over enough time from you, but I have to ask you this question. It's my final question, by the way. I really enjoyed chatting to you tonight. I wish we could have done this a lot sooner or more. So with my final question, I put you in my time machine, right? And I'm gonna dial it back to a very, very young Yaaseen, a Yaaseen that stepped into the scene for the very first time, or who doesn't know what his future holds for him. And it's a Yaaseen of
Yo.
today. Having walked the journey that you've walked, learned the lessons that you've learned, you have 5 minutes to give him some advice or some guidance. What would that be?
Yo, young Yasin, you are not cuck. The things in your mind, the world will love. Just commit to your own brand. Like you are worth it, and everything that you think the world will take. Just believe, like proper believe in yourself. Like don't worry about people that don't find you in any way. They are those who will find you, and you just need to commit for them. And just be Yasin. All the weird and the awkward things in your head, it's real. People also think you're awkward and weird, but it's also why they will love you. That's yeah, that's the main thing. And I wish I could, because now I speak at high school, and now when I tell them, I go, yo, the awkward lighties, you guys are gonna be for fuck in the future. So yeah, to 17 pimpled acne, yeah, seeing those bodies growing in a weird way, yo, you're gonna be dope one day. Even for yourself. Just for yourself, you're gonna be dope. Just
Yeah,
yeah, your funny things is funny.
absolutely. No, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing. And I think, like, the self-worth message is very, very important because, I mean, the younger version of us, we doubt ourselves so many times, and doubt so many things. And it's good to just give that reassurance. So I like
Yeah.
that. I appreciate
Also, schools don't teach us to believe in ourselves. They say you can believe in yourself, but they never like really like they push
it. Don't paint the
they
picture.
they push the academic lighties, they push the I'll say the sports lighties, but it's the weird art lighties they don't push. Especially like coming
Like,
from colored schools where they just like, you're gonna be on the sideline for the rest of your life. That's essentially what they push us for. And
yeah,
I feel like a lot of my friends from high school, we thrived because we were the weird ones. We were the ones that were throwing small like sketches and stuff. And now we're like my friends have become graphic designers and owners of their own business and big things for their own world. And I go, yo, I wish our teachers could see how much they didn't push us enough. But
yeah.
still shout out, and I love them because what they gave us was still great.
Yeah, I mean, like as an adult, I feel like school is just designed to like make people work for jobs and not necessarily pushing people, like you said, people who like, because entrepreneurs, your friends are entrepreneurs now. You're an entrepreneur yourself, the focus wasn't really for those who want to create something or the. I mean, even there used to be like woodwork, and there used to be a lot of skills development in schools, and those things got removed over the years. There used to be home economics and all of that when I used
Yeah.
to go to school, but kids don't learn these extra skills anymore. It's just learning maths and geography or whatever. So it's just, I feel like the school system is just teaching you how to work in a job and not how to be your own boss necessarily. So
It's
yeah, that's why
actually
it was difficult for colorful people like us to thrive complete, like fully. So we always struggle with the work, the academic.
It's one of the reasons I dropped out of university. One of the reasons was because it felt like school, and I
Mm,
genuinely thought university was going to be a time where I can create information. Because my initial thing was going to university for I want to think something no one has thought before. I want to
yeah.
see the world, and I want to show the world things that I've only discovered. And university just felt like school. It was like, yo, study this, here's the test. You didn't think like how we wanted it, so we're not marking you correctly. And I was just like, I don't want this. And again, essentially comedy has given me that thing of I can think what I need to think, and I can show the world how I think of it, and I can justify it and back it up the way with everything that I need to. So yeah, university was not for me. I have one semester to finish, and I had to say sorry to my parents. I'm dropping out. They still hold it against me.
Ja, dan houdt
The
hij nog één keer.
beginning of the year, my dad phoned me to. He's like, "Yo, come to the house quickly. I want to show you something." I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll get there the next day." And he's like, "Yo, do you remember this time when you were doing this?" So first he shows me all the newspapers of like the stuff I've done. Then he shows me my university bills. Then he's like, "Do you remember all this money that you didn't finish with?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
That's also another thing, we kind of like trap students in debt. When you're done with your studying, then you have to work, and and sometimes you can't even work because sometimes you're overqualified and like, but I just left the studies, what do you mean? And that kind of thing. So you're just in the cycle, and then the debt continues of the house debt now, this debt, and then, oh my word, when you finally like, you're
You are
already
dead.
a father, a family, all that stuff, and you're not young anymore. You can't do the stuff you wanted to do. So you just carry on and teach your kids
Yeah.
the same thing. But Yaaseen, it's been lovely chatting to you, brother. Thank you so much. Like I said, this is a different time for you. We usually would shift your focus, but you made some time for me, and I appreciate it. You made some time for the guests as well. And I'm actually drawing too much time for you, so I have to wrap it up. And is there anything that you would love to share that I maybe didn't give you the opportunity to go there just yet, or whatever? Or is there any final last words that you
Um,
have to say? Shout out
yeah,
to you.
so it's actually the the Jive Funny Championship that I want to push because
Okay.
I go someone gave me the platform, I want to give that platform to someone. They don't necessarily need to have done comedy because I go I'm looking for the other people that think they're funny or whose friends think they're funny. I want them to come into also. I want
Yes,
comedians, but I also want the no ones, the undiscovered ones. That's the
yes,
people
yes.
who must come into the competition, please, guys.
Awesome. I'm gonna ask you for some details because I have a comedian buddy of mine who's just started out with comedy, and I just want to bring opportunities to him and that kind of thing. So yeah, please roll me those details when you're done. For other people who don't know who Yaaseen Barnes is or is not following you on your platforms and also want to check out what you're advertising, because I saw it on your WhatsApp status as well. So can you please drop all your social platforms where we can all be a part of that?
So my name is at the bottom. It's Yaaseen Barnes. So it's YAASEEN. Yeah, I can't give my handle out because it's a very weird handle. It's Yaaseen YA_A_underscore
Yeah.
seen underscore him. It's like, have you seen him? Yeah, I seen him. I was stupid when I made it. I
Yeah.
was a child. Sorry, guys.
No, it's
But
a
yeah.
cool.
You can just find me. Lunga has tagged me on for the posters. You can find me over there. And yeah, also thanks for making the show. And again, your flowers and congrats for you. This is a big deal. You've made your own space. Like, because a lot of times people wait for opportunities. You've made your opportunities. You're showing off your own skills. You're now going. You can basically show TV. Yeah, I got this thing. I got people, and I got this
Yeah,
thing, and I can do it. You have the skill set. It's quite well
absolutely.
done.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for noticing that. I mean, that's essentially the direction I want to take with this, but thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yaaseen, I take my hat off to you, brother. May you have a lovely evening further, and thank you so much again. I have nothing left to say to you, but thank you. May you enjoy the
Shukran,
rest of the
salam
evening.
alaikum, bye.
Alaikum salam. Well, that's it from Yaaseen, ladies and gents. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. But that's it. We're signing off with Mr. Yaaseen. Now, that was episode 4, season 2 of The Price of Fame. And like I say, I've been saying at all of these episodes, if this is the first time that you're checking out The Price of Fame season 2, there's a new platform, 3 new platforms that we've added for your streaming privileges. So we've moved over to audio now, so you can catch all the Price of Fame episodes on audio on Apple, Spotify, as well as Anchor FM. And while you're at Anchor FM, send us a voice note. Let me know what you think about the show. Let me know who you'd like to see on the show. Interact with me. We might just play your voice note at the end, at the show, during the show, or at the end. You might just appear. So cool. Get in touch with us. I know you're watching. You might as well have fun with us. That's it for me, ladies and gents. For those of you who are not following me just yet, on Facebook, you can catch me at Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. That is Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. Instagram, you can catch me at Lunga Tshuka. And for exclusive snippets of The Price of Fame, there's a separate page on Instagram, which is The Price of Fame ZA. The Price of Fame ZA. And when you're at YouTube, you can check out all of the episodes on my page of season 1. And now moving into season 2. That is Lunga Tshuka. When you're there, like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. That's it. Good night. Have a lovely evening further. I love each and every one of you. Let's stay the inspiration that we need to be for ourselves and for those around us. This is The Price of Fame.